say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. Thank you. First of all, allow us to thank each and every one of you individually and all of you together collectively for the co-creation of this interaction. Each and every time you allow such an interaction to occur between our civilization and yours, it is a gift for us to experience through you that many more ways that creation has of expressing itself. And so we thank you for expanding our understanding of all the different ways that the infinite does exist. In return for that gift, we now would like to begin this transmission with the idea that we have called no comparison. Let us begin. This is fundamentally an idea about your uniqueness. But even though many of you may empirically understand that you are unique, still in many of our conversations with a lot of you, we hear over and over and over again the idea that many of you discount yourselves, discount your worth, that you wind up comparing yourselves to others and falling short in your own eyes. We would like to now examine a little bit more deeply, a little bit more clearly, this whole idea of comparing yourselves to these ideals, and in your own estimation, perhaps sometimes coming up short, feeling inadequate. This all, of course, has to do with the issues of self-worth and the belief systems that you were taught growing up in your reality that may still be in effect in your unconscious mind and allowing you not to allow yourself to realize your full potential, allowing yourself to not follow your highest excitement, your highest passion. The idea of comparing yourself to someone else in many cases really doesn't work, and we would like to explain why. Many of you may feel, may believe, may perceive that you have a high degree of similarity to other people, and you may view other people who may be living lives that are at least in some way, shape, or form similar to the kind of lives, the kind of dreams that you say you would prefer to live in your own reality, but sometimes find that you simply don't quite know exactly how to attract that, how to manifest that. But many times when you make those kinds of comparisons between yourselves and others, you're actually thinking, you're actually having a belief system that a comparison can be made. When in fact, not only do you really have no business comparing yourself to anyone else, you actually don't really have any capability of comparing yourself to anyone else. Now, we understand that you may think that many of you are very similar, that you are all, after all, human beings on earth, and that you have a high degree of similar things that many of you do. And so because of those similarities, you fall into the assumption, you fall into the belief, you fall into the definition that other things ought to be similar too, that what works for them can work for you. And in a sense, that is true, but only in the broadest sense, only in the most general sense is that actually in any way, shape, or form accurate. Many of you think that when you compare yourselves to other people, you are comparing apples to apples. Understand, it is truly actually much more like comparing apples to kumquats. You are really not as similar as you think for the following reason. Anything that you perceive to be a similarity between you is, like anything that you experience in a collective reality, created by agreement. You have to agree to be similar to someone else in any way, shape, or form. And what that should tell you is that fundamentally, you're not similar at all unless you agree to be. So the idea is that even though you may experience what appears to be a lot of similarity to someone else, you really are not similar at all unless you set up the parameters for that similarity by agreeing to play the game of being similar. But at the same time, you also recognize that you have differences. And the idea is that you are more different than you think. And really, it is by validating, totally validating the differences between you that you actually will create a sense of harmony, a sense of similar vibration. That's the paradox. By allowing full validation of the differences, do you actually create a similar vibration with others who are also validating their own uniqueness? So the idea really is that when you start to compare yourself to someone else, and if you're doing it in a negative way and find yourself coming up short, they can do this and I can't. Why are they so much better than me? Why am I lacking in this? Why am I not able to do what they're able to do? Really, it should come down to the fundamental understanding that you are nothing like them and they are nothing like you, except where you agree to appear to be similar, and it is only an appearance. Now, of course, we are talking about the idea of your personality construct. Obviously, on higher planes and higher dimensions, the idea is that everything is one. Everything is an extension of the same one source. And in that context, yes, you are the same one thing, seen, viewed, experienced from a multitude, an infinite multitude of different perspectives. But those different perspectives are truly unique. And when you agree to play the game of being in a similar reality with someone else, being in a collective reality experience, you are taking that uniqueness and you are defining it and filtering it and tailoring it and molding it in a very specific way with your unique take on what being similar means. So even when you create the idea of similarity, you are creating similarity from a different and unique perspective. Your similarity is not the same as anyone else's game of being similar to someone else. So you are always unique. You are always different, and thus then different enough. Even though you may create the illusion of similarity, you are different enough that you have not only no business comparing yourself to anyone else, you actually have no ability to compare yourself to anyone else, because everyone else is truly at that level completely and utterly unique, completely and utterly different. And even when you create the effect of similarity, you are doing it from a unique perspective that is absolutely unlike anyone else's ability to do that. So the next time you feel the urge to compare yourself to someone else and find yourself coming up short, find yourself lacking, I would strongly suggest that you realize how unique you are, how different you are, how truly, truly you are a particular perspective of the infinite, and that there is absolutely no other point of view that in any way, shape, or form is like your point of view. You are the eyes, all of you, all of us, every being in creation are all the eyes of creation and all the different ways that creation has of perceiving and experiencing itself. Cherish your uniqueness. Do not in any way, shape, or form invalidate it, devalue it. It is by your very uniqueness that all that is capable of being all that is. If you exist in your unique form, then all that is must know that your unique properties must exist in order for all that is to actually experience itself as all it can be. And thus, without you, all that is would not be complete. Without you, all that is would be finite. Without you, all that is would collapse under its own weight. All that is must, by definition, be infinite. And if you are part of that infinite existence, then there is a reason you exist, because all that is does not make superfluous creations, does not make mistakes, and does not say, well, I'm done, but I'll just create a little more off to the side here. Just because you never know. I don't know, I might need a spare or something. All that is does not operate that way. All that is whole, unto itself, one idea. Even though it is composed of an infinite number of parts, an infinite number of perspectives, it is fundamentally, first and foremost, one whole, complete experience unto itself, and every single component that it expresses itself in is a part of that unique experience, a part of that whole experience, and must by definition exist in order for all that is to be what it is, or it could not be all that is. It would simply have another name. It would be some of what could be. And that is all that it would be. Always wandering around, wondering if it could be more. But because you exist, you deserve to exist. Because believe me, if all that is did not need your unique properties in order for it to be all that it could be, all that it is, you would not exist. So if you exist, then all that is knows that you must exist. There is a reason that you exist. You are valid in its eyes, or you wouldn't exist. So the next time you question your worth, the next time you question your validity, the next time you question your differences, realize that when you question those things, you are arguing with all that is. You are saying, I don't deserve to be who and what I am. But obviously you do, or you wouldn't exist. So if you are arguing that you shouldn't exist, you are arguing with all that is and saying that it doesn't know what it's doing in creating you. Stop arguing with creation. You exist, and there's nothing you can do about it. Ever. If you exist, it's the only fundamental quality you actually have. That is your true core quality. Existence itself. That which exists cannot become that which does not exist. That's a completely different quality. And non-existence is already full of all the things that will never exist. There is no room in non-existence for the things that do exist. It is full of non-existence. And besides which, if you really look at the clear definition of non-existence, you will simply realize there's no such thing. Non-existence doesn't exist. That's its fundamental quality, to not exist. Therefore, there is nothing else but existence. And if you exist, you are a part of the infinite. There's no outside to it, you're within it. There is nothing else, and everything that you call a separate thing, including yourself, must then, because there is nothing else but the one, be made of the one, be made from the one, because there's nothing else to make anything with. All that is truly all that is. And therefore there is no outside, there's nothing extra, there is nowhere to get any extra material from to make anything. All that is has to make everything out of itself. Thus then you are made literally of God, made literally of creation, made literally of existence. Thus then, value yourself in the way that all that is values you. Now, of course, you don't have to, and many of you are very experienced at devaluing yourself, but that is also a valid experience within creation, a unique one. A valid one. So if you're going to devalue yourself, at least realize that the only way you can actually possibly have an experience of devaluing yourself is that all that is believes you are valuable enough to have any experience you want. So the very fact that that you're able to devalue yourself means you're valuable. That's the paradox. The very fact that you exist means that you have the unconditional support of all that is, and if you wish to believe you do not have unconditional support, that is your right. But the only reason you can even have the experience of pretending that you don't have unconditional support is if in fact you do. Because you are being unconditionally supported in your fantasy of not being supported unconditionally. That's the paradox. So allow yourselves to begin to relax this idea that you don't measure up, that you would compare yourself to someone else and find yourself falling short. No one else is like you. No one else can be like you. And you can be like no one else. Try. You will never, ever, ever be anything but you. No matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you wish you could be someone else, you will never be anyone but you. However, that's exactly what gives you your key to freedom. Because then you can be whatever it is you truly wish to be in exactly the way you prefer to be. And no one else can tell you different, because no one else is you. And no one else knows what it is to be you, just as you don't know what it is to be anyone else. Cherish your unique perspective, cherish your differences, and when each and every one of you allows your differences to be compatible, when each and every one of you allows your differences to be valid and valued, when you truly empower your differences, you will have absolute harmony in your reality. That's how it's created. Harmony is not created through the idea of becoming homogeneous. It is created through the absolute validation of all the differences that you exhibit, because then each of you is taking ownership of the unique puzzle piece that you are in the big picture. If you had a picture puzzle and you wanted to put it together and one of the pieces says, no, I don't want to be that shape, I want to be some other shape. Well, then you would always have a hole in that big picture and that piece would never fit. So the picture would never be whole, and the whole picture thus would never be able to support all of the pieces, and the pieces would never be able to support the whole picture. But if you simply allow yourself to be the shape you are, the shape that nature knows you need to be, the shape that creation created you to be, then by definition, you must fit perfectly in the big picture just as you are. If that was not the case, you would be a different you. You would be a different shape. Whatever shape you are is the shape you need to be, and is the shape that fits with all the other shapes who are also willing to be the shapes that they are. So when you are all the shapes you actually were created to be, you all fit together perfectly in the puzzle picture, and the whole picture thus then exists. You can see what the big picture is from your unique perspective, and you can allow the whole picture to support the unification, the connection between all the pieces. Does that make sense? All right. So once again, and finally, I would suggest that you give up trying to compare yourself to anyone and anything, and just understand that even though someone may act as an inspiration for you, even though they may in some way, shape, or form be creating with their uniqueness, with their differences, something that is similar to what you prefer, something that is somewhat representative, somewhat symbolic of the thing that represents your ideal scenario, your ideal life, your ideal situation, it is only just that, symbolic. It is not identical and never will be. You will find your way of representing that idea in your unique manifestation through your unique perspective with your unique energy. And it will always be uniquely different than anyone else's, no matter how similar you may think it appears. It is only that way by agreement, and thus only by agreement do you experience the idea you call similarity in your reality. Because you are all completely unique. You are all apples and oranges and bananas and watermelons and kumquats and berries and all sorts of other things that are nothing like each other, but you've all come together to play a game of similarities and differences in a balanced way to experience the unique perspective of the physical reality you call the game of Earth, and the discovery of your uniqueness through the playing of that game, by giving yourselves incentives, by seeing, by creating apparent similarities to lure you into what is possible, to symbolize what is possible, to represent an idea and a concept of what is possible for you, but not in any way, shape, or form are those symbols that lure you, those symbols that excite you, not in any way, shape, or form are they designed to make you feel less than or incapable of. Because if you can perceive it, you can be it. Remember, you cannot perceive what you are not the vibration of. So if you can perceive something that is even remotely representative and symbolic of something that represents your ideal scenario, then that means that vibration is in you in a unique way, and it is up to you by acting on your highest passion, by acting on your highest joy, by being who you truly are and allowing your core vibration to shine forth, it is up to you to manifest the unique, particular expression of that idea, and in so doing, enhance the totality of the experiences that all that is having of itself, by thus then being the fully manifested facet of the multidimensional crystal of creation that you were uniquely created to be, are now, and always shall be, because you exist, and thus you always have, and thus you always will in some form or another. Does that make sense? Yes. All right. Then as you let your uniqueness sink in, let us explore the unique ideas, the unique perspectives that you would like to discuss this day of your time, and in return for the gift that you are giving our civilization in allowing us to interact with each and every one of you in this manner, I ask you now, in what way may we be of service to you through your dialogues, questions, and answers? In the cozy warmth of your beds, let it wrap you in the blanket of its arms, and walk into the dream world with Orinoco. You will find great wonder and mystery therein, and great beauty within yourself. So in return for the gift you have given us in allowing us to share this with you, I ask you now, in what way may we be of service to you? Please begin with your dialogues, your questions, if you wish.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you again for having a conversation with me.
It is our passion and our pleasure.
Synchronicity, friend. I just want to share with all of you and with your friends. I am from Venezuela.
Yes.
And I went to the rainforest many years ago through the Orinoco River. And I've been studying shamanistic journeys for the last 2 weeks.
How synchronous of you.
Very exciting. 2 weeks ago, I had my first guided shamanistic journey.
All right.
I was set with the rain and had conversations with the rain.
Yes.
And I took notes from them.
Conversations with the Rain. Good title for your book.
Wow. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
How did you know I wanted to write a book?
Oh, I don't know. Just a lucky guess, I suppose.
Yeah.
It stands out in your energy to us through symbology.
Okay. This is awesome.
Yes.
I just want to share that from the things that I wrote from the conversations, the rain said to me, remember when you journeyed through the river, through the Orinoco River, into the rainforest.
Yes.
And after that, I saw the jaguar face looking at me.
Yes.
And I say hi, and he said hi. And I said to myself, I think he's a nature spirit from the rainforest in my country. And then, I don't know, I just leave it like that.
Yes.
So this was just like an incredible gift to me.
Yes.
So I just want to share that.
Well, thank you for sharing.
So also, Bashar, thank you so much for quoting The Matrix yesterday.
Yes.
There is no spoon.
Yes.
My favorite movie, my favorite line, said by my favorite extraterrestrial friend.
Oh, thank you.
So yeah, I'm very spoiled this weekend.
Not fresh, but spoiled.
Okay. Very freshly spoiled.
Oh, all right. Freshly spoiled.
Freshly spoiled.
Thank you for the oxymoron.
I have 3 quick questions. One is, yesterday you talked a lot about beliefs.
Yes.
My only question is, are beliefs self-aware?
No,
or, okay.
Not in the way that you're talking.
Then how do they...
It's the way they're designed.
Okay.
They're designed to perpetuate themselves. If they weren't designed that way, you couldn't have a physical reality experience. They have to be designed in a way that reinforces the idea that physical reality is real, that what you're experiencing is a fact, because physical reality is just a projection of consciousness. So if the belief system didn't reinforce itself that way, if it wasn't designed to do that, you couldn't have a physical reality experience as solidly as you do. You would see right through it as an illusion.
Okay. Do you or the hybrids or other, like the Yael, do they have belief systems that...
In a sense, but the idea again is that, remember, we have divested ourselves of the choice of negative belief experiences and only choose the positive ones, which also reinforce reality.
Yeah, exactly. So they're act like, is it similar to like the intelligence of the cells of the body? Like they're...
It's closer to that idea, yes.
Okay. I just wanted to understand how they can use fear to not, prevent themselves from being...
Well, those are the tools that are designed within them.
Okay.
But not the positive ones, just the negative ones.
Oh. So the positive ones, they don't need...
They don't need the idea of the fear. They will get your attention more often than not through simple synchronicity.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Now, you can use fear in a positive way, of course. But it is, by definition, a negative mechanism. But you can use it in a positive way, and that's the whole point. You use it to find out what the negative beliefs are you're holding on to that are generating the fear. That's a positive thing to do with a negative mechanism.
Okay. And my second question was about, I recently got your transmission of the 9 levels of consciousness.
Yes.
Trying to understand the structure of reality is one of my favorite things to do.
Oh, all right. Me too.
How synchronistic. It's very exciting. And
Yes.
I had my notes from it. So when you explain how the oversoul splits into souls or spirits and then
Yes.
down, I was wondering, in this scheme you have higher mind, template level reality, collective consciousness, individual themes, and then the physical construct. Like I have unconscious mind, subconscious mind, and conscious mind.
Yes, but the subconscious and unconscious minds are actually higher than the conscious mind, even though you think of them as lower.
Yeah, no, I got that from your explanation. I was just, where does the dream world dimension that you were talking last night, the lower astral realm, fits within the scheme?
More around the idea of where the higher mind is.
Okay. And is the higher mind part of physical reality?
No.
Is it non-physical?
You have a non-physical higher mind. That is the portion of you that remains in spirit, while the portion of you that believes it's in physical reality is experienced through the physical mind. But most of you is still non-physical.
Yeah. So I loved when you said that the projection is like you're projecting something into a wall, but the projection is like a 3D experience, and that is life.
Yes.
So it's like, and also the reflective mirror is the higher mind.
The reflective mirror is one of the tools of passion that reveals to you anything within your physical mind that is a belief system that might be out of alignment with the vibration of the higher mind.
Okay.
And your third question?
My third question was like, why do I wake up every night at 3 a.m.?
Well, that's a long story.
Okay.
It has to do with extraterrestrial contact and interdimensional contact, generally speaking, though it's not always so, between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. Let's just put it in the old-fashioned terminology. The veil between the dimensions is very thin at that time, and it's easy for beings to cross from one reality to another.
Okay. Perfect.
All right?
Thank you so much, Bashar. I love you.
Our unconditional love to you as well.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
This is very exciting. I've been waiting years to talk to you and ask you questions.
You have?
Yeah, a long time. So I was wondering if you can shed some light on the idea of visual migraines.
We do not discuss health issues.
Okay.
However,
Yes.
clearly, it is the idea on some level of resistance to the natural self, since all pain is the result of resistance to the flow of larger energies, higher frequency energies. So is there resistance within you to be your true self?
Well, there must be. So I'm thinking,
Well, you don't have to just cave so quickly.
but I think I know what it is.
And what is it then?
I might be spreading myself too thin.
Meaning that you feel like there's not enough time to do everything you need to do?
Yeah, well, I have multiple businesses
Yes.
to be able to support myself as well as do what I really want to do. What I'm
I
really
beg your
passionate
pardon?
about.
Do what you what? Want to do?
What I need to do.
When you do what you need to do, the amount of things you do will probably reduce to a manageable amount, instead of the things you want to do, that you think you need to do, that you may not need to do as much of, or at least not in the way you're doing them.
Right.
It's about streamlining, simplifying yourself, and trusting the timing and the order in which you need to do things. You do understand we say that synchronicity is the organizing principle of your life?
Mm-hmm.
So when something is presented to you that contains the idea of passion, more excitement than anything else, that is synchronicity saying, this is the thing to do now. And when that passion wanes, the next thing that has more excitement than any other option, no matter what it is the thing to do next. If you keep doing that in that order, as synchronicity brings you circumstances, situations, opportunities that contain more excitement than any other choice, and you just keep following that, whatever you don't have time to do at the end of the day doesn't need to be done. It is literally organizing your life in the timing of when you need to do things and when you don't. So if you are willing to actually follow the way the instruction manual works, the way that the structure of existence actually works, everything will start to fit in perfect timing. You will see exactly what you do and don't need to do. And you'll start also doing things perhaps in a way that is more in alignment with your excitement, rather than doing them in a way that you've been taught to think you have to do them, that may have nothing at all to do with the way you would best do them.
So say, for example, I have this first business. I don't like it. I don't want to do it, but I do it because it provided me really healthy finances.
Again, the idea is, in some sense, what you just said is that my excitement can't support me as well.
Not right now. I didn't believe.
Exactly.
Right.
That's a belief. Now, again, we always say you have to honor your belief system. If you don't believe that your excitement, your passion can support you as well or even better, then by all means hold on to what you believe you need for support in your reality. But I am telling you that if you at least take the time to act on your passion as often as you can then give it an opportunity to prove to you it can support you. But what has to go along with that is a relaxation of what you are defining as support. Because you may be limiting yourself in the way you think support is supposed to look. And by doing that, you may actually be preventing other forms of support that exist from coming in to support you, when it is actually more appropriate for those other forms to come in. By insisting that there's only one way you can be supported in physical reality, through one particular symbol, such as finances, you are actually closing the doors through which other forms of support and abundance could be coming to you that might actually be a path of lesser resistance for you. But if you insist it has to look a certain way, then there's that resistance. There's that stranglehold on the energy conduits in your body. And boy, does that cause headaches.
Yeah, it does. So how would I go about by letting go of that definition that finances?
Follow the definition of abundance that we suggest to you if you wish. Our definition of abundance is, are you paying attention?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Of course.
The ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it, period. One more time. The ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it, period. We understand that on your planet, money is one symbol of abundance, but it's not the only one. Being given a gift is a symbol of abundance. Having something to trade is a symbol of abundance. Synchronicity is a form of abundance, bringing you what you need exactly when you need it. Imagination is a form of abundance because it opens in your mind other ideas, other pathways, other avenues you may not have considered and on which you may not necessarily need to do the things you thought you needed to do because this is a new way of doing something that may not require the way you used to do things. So there are many forms of abundance. When you relax your definition about how abundance is supposed to come to you in whatever form, then you allow all the forms to work together. Maybe sometimes in certain circumstances, maybe you need a little bit of money. But if that's all that comes, that should be your first clue that the entire support system may not actually be best in the form of money. So if you say, all right, well, that part came, you're open to the rest of it. Now maybe a little bit of synchronicity comes in. Now maybe someone comes along and gives you something for free. Now maybe you suddenly realize you have something you can trade with someone else. And your imagination opens up. And suddenly you realize it's about letting whatever proportion or percentage of each of those things come into work together to form the 100% support that you need in that particular situation. But you have to let them come in order to find out what proportion of each of them is actually required. So without that relaxation of the definitions, you're actually shutting the doors through which other forms can come by saying, this is the only form that will work, this is the only form that I recognize. Nothing else can possibly allow me to feel as supported or as abundant. That's the belief system, but that's just what the negative belief wants you to believe, so you won't let it go. That's how it perpetuates itself. But if you at least take some action on the things that are truly representative of your passion often enough, if you at least give yourself that opportunity, that chance, as often as you can, your passion will show you through synchronicity that it can actually support you. Maybe even better than you're being supported now, as hard as that might be for some of you to believe. It can do that. Are you following?
Yeah, I love that idea. I've actually started it way back in like 2011, 2012.
And what stopped you?
Well, it goes in hand with my next question, which is I've followed the formula as best as I can.
I guess not.
Well, I do my best.
I understand.
But
you can do better. I know you can.
But the challenge I find is that it's really difficult sometimes to stay in a positive state.
Do you understand that that's a belief and not a fact?
Yes, I do.
See, this is how you start breaking it down. When you hear those things come out of your mouth, when those thoughts move through your head, stop yourself and say, wait a minute. What I just said is not a fact. It's just a belief. It's just a perspective. It's just an opinion. And those things can be changed. Another definition that would work with more alignment for you is the idea that there is no such thing as an inherently difficult situation. No such thing. Only the belief makes it feel or seem or appear difficult. Then you have something to work with. But when those things come out of your mouth, when those thoughts go through your head, you have to stop and pay attention and realize that you're programming yourself with a story that doesn't work for you right there. And in that moment, it's not about moving on. It's about staying with that realization, working with it, discovering that belief, and going into that belief to the degree, to the point where you get it to make no sense. That's what you haven't done. You're not getting it to the point where the belief makes no sense. Once it makes no sense, you drop it. You never hold on to anything that you truly see makes no sense. If you're holding on to it, as nonsensical as it may seem, that means you have a belief that is somehow making it appear to make sense to hold on to something that doesn't work for you. You have to find that belief. And when you really see it in the light of your consciousness, in the light of day, you will see that it's just a construct of co-linked things that probably don't need to be linked And by analyzing it to some degree and seeing that it makes no sense, then you de-link those experiences and can move forward. Because now it no longer makes sense to do anything other than that.
So
Is this making sense?
Yeah, so to get out of that business, you're suggesting that I break down the belief and I use synchronicity.
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 Or synchronicity, if you prefer that definition. Yeah. And what we're suggesting is that you act on your passion as best as you can, continue to do that idea, but yes, you have to find out what the beliefs are that are holding you back from believing that your passion can support you.
Sure, I can do that.
All right.
But what happens if you're in an environment, let's say I have a big family.
Yes,
and they are totally, how do I say it? They reinforce all those negative beliefs. And it gets really... No, they don't. You do. You do because you think you have to agree with them. But if I don't...
So what?
So should I just...
Whose life is it? Whose life
it's mine,
is it?
For sure.
Thank you. But...
It gets really negative and nasty.
So what? What has that got to do with you?
Family reunions.
Do you understand that when it gets negative and nasty, what you're seeing are their issues of fear?
Totally.
Then why should it affect you? If you understand it has nothing to do with you and has everything to do with them, can't you put yourself in a state of compassion for them? And see that they are struggling with their own issues that they are afraid to face?
Yes, of course.
Well, then if you can do that, there's no effect on you.
But they come after me still.
So what? Are they locking you in a room and preventing you from leaving?
No.
Then leave if they are not vibrationally compatible with you.
Well, that's what I was planning not to go for Christmas.
Then don't.
And would that do some serious damage?
To whom?
My relationship with my family.
Who knows? But you understand this truth. If you are not yourself, they're not in a relationship with you, and you're not in a relationship with them anyway.
Yeah, I know. It's been like that for a while.
Well, then the only thing you can do, no matter how much they may protest, because they have their own ideas of what you should be and who you should be and what that should look like, the most loving thing you can do is actually show them who you really are, whether they like it or not. But again, if you find that they are vibrationally incompatible with what you prefer in your life, then find a different family to celebrate with.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Well, then there you go. Problem solved.
Okay, and one last question. Do we need 7 hours of sleep to remain healthy?
Not necessarily. Depends on your true biological rhythm.
Any idea on how to set that rhythm or reset it?
Yeah, start to relax a little bit. Don't be so tense. Slow down to speed up. Okay. And then you will find your natural rhythm. You will be tired when you need to be tired. When you're excited about being tired, you will rest. When you are excited about being active, you will awake and do things. And it may be very different times of the day that this happens. You don't have to go by what society says is the time you should be asleep and the time you should be awake. Start to become more naturally you, rather than becoming so normal.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You will find your own rhythm. Yes?
Yes.
Then happy, holy days to you.
Thank you, Bashar.
I have a personal question.
Well, of course, because you're a person.
I am a person. So can you tell me a little bit more about like soulmates and marriage?
Yes.
The last two relationships I had were like really bad breakups for me, and I felt...
How exciting! What did you learn? Did you learn how to recognize more quickly that which is more vibrationally compatible to what you prefer? Then they have served your purpose, and you may thank them for that.
But why does it hurt so bad?
Because you're not using it in the most positive way, because you are thinking it has something to do with devaluing you.
Yes.
Well,
that's
stop
exactly
that.
it.
Well, you're worthy.
So I just feel like every time I'm picking, like I'm in this relationship, like just asleep, and then all of a sudden it's like I get hit by a bus and then my heart's broken.
Oh, all right. Well, you have the glue to put it back together.
I do.
All right.
What does
So
the
the
glue look
idea,
like?
the glue looks like energy and the idea that you are worthy.
Okay.
Yes? And no victimization of yourself.
Is that what I'm doing?
Yes.
Okay.
So, if you are willing and able to learn from the experiences, then you can move forward in a positive way because you recognize that the reason you attracted them was to learn these lessons and bring out of yourself the negative perspective you've been holding of yourself so that you no longer will succumb to the lure of those who are willing to reinforce your belief in your own victimhood.
I didn't know that's what I was doing.
That's what you're
I thought we were having a good time.
You can have a good time,
I thought it was like
but then,
sailing on the
as you
bay.
say, there's the bus.
There's the truck.
And the truck that comes along so
And
you
then
can
it's
get
like
on
in the
and go
gut.
somewhere else on it.
And then I wake up and I'm like, wait, what?
Yes, that's fine. Wait, what? But this is what? The idea is to learn from it and go, all right.
Okay.
The next time I attract myself into some relationship,
Yeah.
I am not going to bring any assumptions or insistences into that relationship about what I think it should be. I'm just going to let it be what it is and see what it is. I'm not going to impose any kind of structure upon it because I really, in truth, have no clue why I attracted this relationship right now. So I'm just going to let it be what it is. And by letting it be what it is and not imposing a particular societal structure on what you think it should be, then you will have your eyes open and you'll be able to see what's happening much more quickly. And you'll be able to respond much more quickly in the way that actually works for you instead of sticking with something longer than you should because it has nothing to do with what you prefer.
So I have like these preconceived notions about what a relationship looks like when I get it. Like we're supposed to go to this and we're supposed to do that.
Yes.
And then
and that's why in our society, we don't have that. We let the relationship be what it is. And we may not even know what it is until it changes.
So like just showing up without any preconceived notions, like coming from nothing. Just
here is the purpose of all relationships, no matter what their form. Each person in the relationship is there to be a reflection to the other person or people in the relationship in order for each of you to discover more of who you are and do that for the others as well. That's it. That's the whole purpose of reflective relationship, no matter what form it takes, is you help each other become more of who you are. When that stops being something that happens in the relationship, that's your first clue that you need to move on to get another relationship of some sort so you can keep growing, keep learning, and keep helping others learn to grow as well. Because, and here's the real secret, even if it appeared that the other person changed in some way and allowed them to become more vibrationally compatible with you so that you could, quote unquote, stay in the relationship, you're not in a relationship with the same person anyway. Literally, not the same person. I don't care how they look on the surface. If someone changes, they're not the same person because person is an artificial construct. So even if it still looks like the same body, it's not. So what difference does it make if they don't look the same, if it's another person? Because it's another person anyway.
Right.
So the sooner you recognize what does and doesn't work anymore in the relationship, the sooner you will go, all right, I am absolutely appreciative, absolutely grateful for what it is I have learned in this relationship, what I have learned about myself, what I've been able to give to you as a gift to help you learn about yourself. But what it is that I give you is none of my business, whether you take it or not. But I have taken from you what I needed, so thank you so very much. I am now moving ahead, and if you wish to come with me, then make your choice to be with me by being someone that is more vibrationally compatible with what I now prefer. Otherwise, go on your path to find what works for you. I love you unconditionally enough to let you go do that.
Sounds
and I love myself unconditionally enough so that I can go do that.
I value myself enough.
Exactly.
So the next...
And you value them by showing them who you actually are, who they're actually in a relationship with. Otherwise, you're playing false.
I didn't know that I was not valuing myself before when I went into the other ones. Is that what I was...
But that's what you're learning you're doing.
Okay.
So now you understand that you can value yourself.
Okay.
And when you value yourself and make the decision that something should change from that state of being, it won't be painful.
It won't be painful.
No, of course. How can it be painful if you're in a state of valuing yourself?
And I'm not
That's
giving away,
completely contradictory.
I'm not giving away my power either.
Of course.
So that's me valuing myself and not trying to change myself to fit into what I think I should look like or act like.
Because
or be
then
like
again, if you're not yourself, you're not in a relationship with them anyway.
Yeah.
You're just who they think you should be.
Right. And
so you're lying to them.
And myself.
When you then show them who you are, you're giving them an opportunity, the best opportunity of all, to decide whether or not they want to change to be more compatible with you. Otherwise, you're just, again, being false to them and you're not in a relationship with them, not the real you.
And if we don't decide to change together, it has no impact on my value at all.
Why should it?
It shouldn't.
Then it doesn't.
I get to decide, right?
You do get to decide. It's
not like we're just not in the flow. Nice to meet you. Bye.
Kind of. You will meet again, somewhere, somehow. These are all things being played out by agreement. It may be members of your soul family. It may be someone else entirely. But the attraction is there for a reason of helping you grow, helping you to understand who you are. So again, you will meet somewhere, somehow, again, in some way, in a very different circumstance and situation. Whether it's physical or not is beside the point.
It seems, though, like sex is like very intimate. And
it is.
When you do that, sometimes it's like you don't want to part from that person. You want to hang out.
Social convention in your mind.
It's made up.
Yes.
I want to go to dinner after we do that. That's made up. Like,
there are things that may be representative of things that you do prefer.
Right.
But you have to know the difference in yourself, whether you are choosing something from true excitement or whether you are choosing it from anxiety. And if you're just honest with yourself, you'll know the difference.
Okay. Thank you for that. I have one other question, please.
Yes.
So I have my own business, which is like my highest passion.
Which is what?
So I help companies with branding and marketing.
All right.
I define their visual look, feel, tagline, direct their stuff.
And this is part of your passion expression, yes?
It's like my thing.
All right. It's your thing,
yes. So lately I feel like it's been really, really good.
Oh, all right. Really, really good.
My clients are incredible. We have great...
Is there a but coming up here?
Well, so I want to know...
Yes.
0 buts. I want to know how I can leverage the company to help more people, because I feel like there's these great waves of expansion and then contraction.
Well, expansion and contraction is a natural ebb and flow, and that could be fine. Is there something in your imagination that you would rather be doing differently than the way you're doing it?
I don't think so.
Are you sure? Why do you assume that there must be something else you can do? Why would you be asking that question if you didn't have something in your mind?
Well, I guess that's good. I mean, you're infinite intelligence, so you probably know better than me.
I am not infinite.
You're not?
No.
What are you?
I know what I know when I need to know it.
Okay. So, I guess maybe that's the question.
Let's use your imagination.
Should I be doing something different so my business is
not a should.
Okay.
Is there something that you feel passionate about doing differently than what you're doing in the way you're doing it now?
I don't.
The smallest change, even, can be representative of an entire change. So is there some way you would rather be doing what you're doing in a slightly different way?
Yeah, probably.
What's that?
Hire more people.
All right. Can you do that?
Yeah, but...
Does that feel like it expands your passion? Does it fill you more with lightness and relief?
It makes me nervous.
Why does it make you nervous?
Because I manage the design, and it might get too big where I can't control the quality of the...
So you believe you would attract something you can't handle?
Maybe.
Then let go of that belief, because it doesn't make sense. in the idea of you being in a state that represents your passion, those kinds of things can't happen in that state. If those kinds of things happen and you suddenly feel you can't handle it, it's not because it's happening within your passion, it's because you've left the vibrational state of your passion that those things happen. But if it's coming from your true state of passion, it can't come in a form that isn't handleable. It doesn't make sense. Does that make sense?
I think so.
It can't come in a vibrational form that is at odds with the vibrational state you're creating it in.
Right.
You cannot experience what you're not the vibration of.
Right. Right.
This is just physics.
Right.
So if you're truly in your state of passion and you
Right.
want to attract the idea of hiring more people,
Yeah.
then the synchronicity from that state will allow it to unfold in a way that works for you. Otherwise, what would be the point?
Right. Because it's all for fun.
Thank you. Does that make sense?
So is that the thing that I'm looking for, hiring more people, that just kind of fell into my
You're the one
brain?
that said it.
Well, can't you read my mind?
No, there's no such thing as reading someone else's mind. You can be on the same wavelength as someone else and have the same thoughts at the same time, but all you're doing then is reading your own mind.
Right.
So, no.
Shoot. Okay.
Bang.
Okay, so
If that's what fell into your
that's
head,
what fell in.
then sit with it for a moment, feel it out. You can do that.
Okay.
And if something else falls into your head, as you
Okay.
said, feel it out. Does it make you feel more relief? Does it make you feel lighter? Does it make you feel more expanded in your passion or not? And like you said, well, if you suddenly get nervous, then stay with that and find out the belief that's making you nervous, and then realize that those beliefs don't make sense. If you understand what we just said about how you can't experience something you're not the vibration of.
Right. So like a scarcity mindset would be like, I'm going to hire more designers and more developers. And then what if more clients don't keep coming, and then I have to pay these people? And then it's like
Blah, 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 chatter, 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 chatter. Find those beliefs and let them go.
Yeah. I've been learning how to do that.
All right. Well, very good.
Okay. And just a follow up to the business thing here. The other thing, I partnered up with this other guy. We have the same business coach, and we've been selling these SEO programs to clients.
Yeah.
And it's been really great because I go in and I manage it, and I work with these guys in Dubai, and it's like so much fun. So
Yes. Why do I need to know that?
because it's just, I'm sharing my joy with you.
Oh, thank you.
Because this brings so much joy because
Thank you.
it's exciting.
Then stay in your joy with every aspect of it. And then the resolutions to challenges will come.
Okay. Because this SEO part, these things are
enough.
exciting.
That's
okay.
enough.
Gracias.
De nada.
Hello, Bashar.
And a you good day.
I have questions from the north to start with.
Questions from the north.
Humans have a scientific explanation of what northern lights are.
Yes.
Is there anything else to them besides what we know of them scientifically?
Well, obviously, there are aspects of them that exist in more dimensional reality levels than just the physical, but what you understand them to be as a physical expression is relatively accurate.
Okay. My next question is, I'm having a house built, and I had
Yes.
a field excavated for geothermal heating.
Yes.
And 15 feet below the Earth's surface, we found a prehistoric bison bone.
Oh, all right. How exciting for you.
It was a piece of a femur, and we'd like to know why that bone was broken, how it happened.
An accident. A natural accident.
So are there any more pieces of that bison there?
Yes, although it may be a little bit far afield because a great deal of water carried a lot of the remains to different places. So it may be scattered over a wide distance.
Thank you. In this build of my house,
Yes.
what could I do to raise its vibration before I move in or while I'm in the house?
Well, as a permission slip, if you wish to construct it along the idea of certain kinds of phi ratios that resonate with natural frequencies of the earth, then that might be one way you could magnify or amplify the frequencies within the house.
And what about the water supply?
What about it?
There's concern about the quality of the water.
You do have filtration systems on your planet, do you not?
We do.
Well, then use them.
Is there anything else I can do to support the quality of the water?
Stay in a positive state so that you become another filter.
Okay. I have horses, and I spend a good deal of my time helping horses feel more comfortable physically.
Oh, all right. Yes.
Is there anything you could suggest I do to support what I do for these other species?
Well, what do you believe is missing?
The only thing that might be missing is something I don't know about, but you know about.
Don't be clever with me, girl. Use your horse sense and figure it out.
Okay.
Is there something, some way you would rather be doing what you're doing to help them that you're not doing?
I would like it to take less time.
All right. Well, you understand what we say about synchronicity, and usually if you find a way to do what you're doing that is more in alignment with your true passion, doing it in different ways, then that usually will reduce the time factor, because then it becomes simply an issue of timing and not time so much. So what else would you rather be doing, or what other way would you rather be doing it?
I'd like to be able to communicate with them more clearly.
And in what way do you believe you're communicating with them now?
By touch and by thought.
All right. And what do you imagine would allow you to communicate with them more clearly? What have you imagined?
To have more of a dialogue.
Yes, I understand what you're describing. What have you imagined would allow you to do that?
To be more sensitive.
In what way?
Intuitively.
So by following your passion, you know that that raises your frequency, and by raising your frequency, you know that makes you a more sensitive receiver for other forms of communication, yes?
Yes.
Well?
So how can I raise my frequency?
By following your passion.
Okay.
To the best you can, with no insistence or assumption as to the outcome, and remaining in a positive state no matter what happens, because you know it's happening for a reason that can serve you. Are you following that formula to the letter?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Then why are you asking these questions of us?
Okay, then I'll move on to the next one.
Thank you.
Okay. I had a lot of night fears when I was
I'm not done.
Okay.
What have you attempted in terms of your communication with the horses in a dream state?
Nothing.
There you go.
Okay.
Start dreaming with the horses, and you will know how to talk together.
Okay.
So when you go to sleep, open up to the realm of the horses and dream with them. And see what happens. You might be actually quite astonished at what you get.
Okay.
All right?
Yes.
All right.
Does my horse Grace have a message for me?
I'm not going to give it to you. You're going to dream it.
Okay. Okay.
No shortcuts for you.
Okay. I'll do the work.
I don't want to take away your pleasure.
Okay. I was going to say, the next thing I was saying was that I had a lot of fear when I was very young, especially at night sleeping.
Yes.
And is there an explanation for that?
There is. You have encounters with other kinds of beings that you didn't know what to do with, and so you felt out of control. But you did this by agreement. Again, just open up to the idea that more conscious awareness of these encounters can be given to you so that you can experience these exchanges on your own terms.
And is that something that only happened during childhood, or
No.
is it ongoing?
It's ongoing, but not necessarily as often as it used to be.
Okay.
So again, a lot of things can be resolved for you during the dream time if you will open up to it and not be afraid.
Okay. I have a question about my relationship that I'm in right now, and I'm wondering if a mutual experience with other alien species for both of us has created this attraction to each
There
other.
is some of that, but that's not all it is. But we can't go into greater detail because you're in mid-process.
Okay. And my last question is, I'd like to get a tattoo. Do you have any recommendations?
A horse?
Okay, thank you.
Just
Bashar.
comes to mind for some reason.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all I have.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I have like 4 ideas to speak with you. I'm not sure.
All right. Speak up and be clear so that all may hear you clearly.
But before I go into that, I would like to refer to something that I experienced during the story that Daryl read.
Yes.
I experienced a very strong energy, like tears came to me when Balaam showed up.
Yes.
I wonder why.
Well, you have a connection to that vibration, that understanding, that culture, those spirit levels.
And that reminded me of a hypnosis that I had a year ago or something like that, and I was a dragon, and I was hanging out with some blue little beings.
Why don't you go and look up?
I did. Okay. I think it was related to my Kundalini. That's what I took.
Go and look up the term alabrije and see what you get.
Can you spell that for me?
A-L-I-B-R-I-J-E, alabrije.
Thank you.
Go look it up and see what you get. It might start you on another journey.
Thank you so much. So the first subject I want to discuss with you is regarding the Joshua tree.
Yes.
I heard about the portal just the day before, and I knew I had to be there.
Oh, all right. And were you there?
I took my son and a friend, and I would have gone by myself if they wouldn't have come. But
all right.
I didn't expect anything, although I did expect to feel something, because I know I'm not ready to even see them.
You didn't have to bring that much baggage with you.
Well, I'm trying to be honest with myself. So,
all right.
I went there in the middle of the night. Nothing happened.
Oh, all right. Something happened.
It did, because I rented a house right by the park.
Yes.
And during the night, around 3, 4 a.m.
Oh, there's that time again.
Oh, like the other girl, I wake up.
Yes.
Around that time.
And?
So I had like an experience between sleep and awake. I woke up, but not fully.
Yes, we understand.
Okay, so it was an energy trying to enter my body.
Not really.
Not really, but that's how I
No such thing
understand.
exists.
Wow.
Nothing can enter your body. Your body is a projection of your spirit. There's no empty place in it for anything but you. But you can have that effect. You can experience it as if it's happening that way. I'm simply telling you that regardless of how it feels, mechanically, that's not what's happening. You're simply altering your frequency to match something else.
Probably that. That's how my mind...
Not probably that. That's how it works.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I didn't allow the energy to blend with me.
You didn't blend with it.
I had 2 days before, I had an experience similar at the same time, and I think that was trying to train me for this.
All right.
And I allowed the energy to... I blended with it, and I sensed the snakes raising, and I tried to raise them to my heart. I opened my heart, and I loved them even when they became monstrous.
Monstrous.
And they did. They took forms like scary forms, and I found myself saying, I see you. And I felt like I opened my heart with love and compassion.
Yes.
And I saw through their pain and suffering, and they dissolved.
Yes.
This night, an entity started entering a conversation with me telepathically. And they told me, well, you see, unless you love us that way, you cannot see us.
Yes.
And,
exactly.
And I understood that. I knew that I wasn't ready. And they showed me beliefs, one after another, and I have to say, yes, you're right. I have this belief now. I recognize that's why. And very compassionate. They went very deep until like when I was a baby, they showed me a scarf that I probably created a belief in me.
Yes.
So I allowed them to work on me.
All right.
And remove those beliefs. And then, and it was them or some contact.
Repeat that.
I'm asking you, it was related with the portal, yes? That experience that I had that.
Yes, you could call it a portal, yes.
Okay. My question is, I was starting to fall back into, but then I looked at them and they were removing something from my head. They were working like removing some texture, like metallic structure that was rigid,
That's just a symbolic projection of a belief.
Exactly. And I asked them, what are you doing there? And they said, we're removing thoughts.
Yes.
And I said, I thought that thoughts do not live in my head.
Thoughts can be anywhere, but remember, you don't really have a head. That's just an illusion.
It was an illusion. It was a symbolic representation. So they were like working on helping me to remove those old belief systems and thoughts.
All right. How exciting.
It's very exciting. Okay. Right. So that was my experience.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. If I may, I have 3 other subjects that I would like to attend. Maybe.
We'll see.
So I numbered them 1 to 3. Why don't you choose?
We'll see.
Why don't you choose a number, 1, 2, or 3? Because I don't know which one.
Is this a game show?
It is.
What's behind door number 1?
Okay.
Well, usually we always go for 3. So what's behind door number 3?
So which one?
3.
3? Oh, okay.
I just said 3.
Let me remember. And
now I've said it 3 times.
Okay. So the number 3, I'm going to start with a question, but that's hopefully to lead me to what I wanted to discuss with you. I never asked you about my lineage. So can you tell me what is my lineage?
No.
No.
It's not appropriate for us.
Okay.
Someone else will give you that information.
Okay. So I was hoping that when you tell people what their lineage is does it mean?
Are you talking about connections to other civilizations? That's not that's not a lineage.
But
that's an energetic connection. You don't come from anywhere else but Earth.
I understand. I perfectly understand.
Then the word lineage is misleading, because lineage usually refers to the idea of your genetic lineage on Earth.
That's what I thought. And I thought that when you were answering to people their lineage, it meant that they have in their DNA that lineage from those.
No, that doesn't necessarily mean you have DNA from those civilizations. It means you have energetic connections. Sometimes there may be a genetic connection, but very often it's simply an energetic connection.
Oh, okay. So what I want to talk with you about, it's about the DNA.
Yes.
And it's my understanding, I don't know if I'm wrong or right, so you correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, I will.
That, I know that, that the dormant DNA, it's now being activated on Earth.
It's being activated, yes. Markers are opening up that have been dormant for a while, yes.
And that will bring up in people abilities, new abilities, like...
Yes, but the expansion of consciousness is what opens them. So it's really the expansion of consciousness that brings the new abilities. The genetic markers are just a response to that level of consciousness. So it's not that they're causing it, they're a response to the new level of energy.
I got it. And
yes,
does this mean, like, can this be connected with our ascensions? Basically, activation of our DNA is basically our ascension process.
It's part of the ascension process, yes.
Now, our DNA was worked with. We had DNA from other civilizations.
Yes.
Now, how the DNA affects the essence of who we are, what remains after we leave this body?
Well, the genetic material doesn't affect you when you are no longer physical. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
No, it doesn't affect you when you're no longer physical. It is only for the purpose of the physical journey that it works. Now, there are other levels of energy that you might call, very loosely, the idea of spiritual DNA, but it's not the same thing at all as your physical DNA. The physical DNA may be a representation of higher energies in crystallized physical form. So there are definitely representations of that idea in spirit, but it's not the genetic material of the physical reality that affects the spirit. It's the spiritual DNA that affects the spirit. if I can use that term, but that's a very loose term. Don't think of it in terms of physicality.
That's a lot of relief.
It's more of an energy vibrational frequency.
I got it. Thank you. So I'm done with that subject. Are you allow me another one?
Nope.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There.
What's behind door number 1 and 2 will have to remain a mystery. For now.
Shivai Bashar?
To you, good day, ha'atu. Now, let's get something a little clear about the word in our ancient language, because I notice that sometimes, and it's all right for you to use it this way, but Shivai doesn't really have that meaning. It's not really a greeting. Do you understand? It's actually more of a statement of energy in terms of something that you are focused on. Ha'atu is the normal greeting in our ancient language. Or, if you wish, again, the idea even of ili, ova, because that's the reflection between us, is also a greeting in our ancient language. Ili, ova.
Brilliant.
But Shivai is more of the idea of, I'm on a particular quest, I'm on a particular path, look out, I'm coming through, as a loose translation.
Very adventurous.
Yes.
If I may, I'd like to share and report back some experiences from our Joshua Tree
By all means.
camping trip. We camped with a small group of people and watched the sky all night.
Yes.
We were, of course, very attentive at the midnight hour.
All right.
Many of us had individual experiences and saw lights,
Yes.
streaking lights and flashing lights.
Yes.
Do you have anything from your side of the...
Again, it was for the purpose of allowing us and others to make certain observations of everyone's energy in terms of their desire to be there, their willingness to be there, the vibrational states that you are all in. It wasn't really so much about what you saw, it was more about what we saw in you.
Seems fitting.
Yes.
And now moving forward, are there other steps we will be taking?
Yes, that was the first. There will be others along this path that will allow us to gauge where you're at and take readings of a sort to see how close you are to the idea of open contact. So there will be several steps on this journey, yes. So we will suggest other places and times for such things to happen where we can take new readings and you can have different experiences that show us that you're opening up to certain ideas.
And will you have any in the forthcoming year of 2020?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Because that is the eye of the storm.
How exciting.
Yes, it is.
My curiosity has been very much focused on the topic of, or the subject you've brought through to us as Aztlan.
Yes, the ancient Atlantean civilization. Its name for itself was Aztlan, yes.
Yes. The etymology of the word, Aztlan, is highly debated, but generally boils down to two words, or two meanings, meaning the place of whiteness and the place of herons.
Yes.
Might you have any perspectives or information as to the significance of those?
Well, it was common to use a certain kind of white stone in the construction of many of the temples. So, the place of whiteness. There were certain kinds of birds, like herons, that also frequented the area in times past. But that's a very specific reference, not so much to the actual bird, as it is to the idea of the priesthood in Atlantis.
Is that connected with...
It's actually connected with the ibis.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I was blanking on that name.
Yes. In Egypt, yes. And also connected with the idea of certain Egyptian gods, which were representations in many cases of the ancient Anu extraterrestrials.
Such as Set?
Yes. That's one.
And what is the cultural connection between Aztlan, the American Indian cultures, and Egypt?
Well, as the American Indians moved across North, Central, and South America and populated those particular continents, Atlantis became one of the colonies. So you see the architecture of Atlantis, even though many of your legends depict it kind of more as Grecian-style architecture was not. It was more Aztec in appearance, in terms of the cyclopean blocks and so on and so forth. The idea is that it was an American Indian colony. And it ventured out into the ocean and created other excursions into Europe and Northern Africa, eventually after the destruction, having many Atlanteans, priesthood, hierarchy, and mainstream individuals coming into those particular cultures and creating certain understandings of technology and agriculture and mathematics and so on and so forth, to preserve the knowledge that had been lost in the destruction of the Atlantean capital.
And as you've shared, the crystal skulls were integral in that process?
Some of them, yes. The master skull still lies at the bottom of the ocean in the Bahamas, where the main capital of Atlantis used to be.
Wow. And what is the significance of the mound cultures of the American Indians and their connection?
They are, to some degree, also an offshoot preserving knowledge in the earthworks, so that, again, that knowledge would be preserved, knowing that at some point, hint now, that knowledge would be rediscovered.
On that note, you've mentioned that the effigy of the Serpent Mound in Ohio may contain a crystal skull within its vicinity?
I said there is a crystal skull somewhere around there.
Right.
But the secret of where it is lies in the Serpent Mound. So if you can decode it, you'll find it.
Is that something physically buried or
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
How exciting.
Yes, yes, yes.
And you may remember in transmissions past,
Oh, thank you for allowing me to remember.
Yes.
Were you giving me permission? You may remember.
Yes, I was. But we spoke about the idea of sunflower plastic.
Yes.
And its ability to absorb
radiation. Yes.
So
go and experiment.
I've assembled all of the materials and
then keep experimenting.
Okay.
I can't give you much more than that at this point. I have to see how far you get before we can give you more.
Okay. And lastly, if we may, is Willa available to speak about the story you've just shared?
Not tonight.
Okay.
But soon.
Brilliant.
In your next year, she will come through commenting not only on the idea of the shamanistic journey, but many other things to help continue you on the path of going from cryptic to nocturnal to shapeshifter to sage to wraith. But only with the energy that is coming from the eye of the storm will the vibration be accelerated enough for that transmission to occur.
Sounds fun.
Yes, yes, yes.
And I just remembered when I briefly asked you about a group of artifacts before.
Yeah.
You had mentioned that they were restricted to an area, and you asked me if I understood, and I said yes, but I don't think I understood.
Too bad.
Oh, okay. I'll figure it out along the way.
Yes, you will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.